Cruella de Vil, Cruella de Vil. Okay, if you guessed that we are doing 101 Dalmatians Easter eggs, you'd be right. Now, I do want to say there were some moments rewatching this. I grew up watching this movie and I absolutely loved it. One of my favorites. But looking back, how evil Cruella is. Now, don't get me wrong, she was always the villain, but like there's a piece, and I'll talk about it with these, not the Easter egg, but I'll talk about it in part of the video, where she talks about how to literally kill the dogs. We didn't catch that as kids. Like, what the what the heck? What the hecky? Yeah, what? How we didn't catch that as kids, I don't know. Also, smoking around not only just humans, but also dogs, very dangerous. So, PSA, let's not smoke if you can, okay? It's not healthy for you, it's not healthy for other people around you, it's not healthy for the animals. Let's not do it. Let's also not hurt animals, okay? I'm sorry, but you don't need a coat made out of dogs just because you like their pattern. Be inspired, sure, but use fabric, okay? Use cotton or something else that's more sustainable, eco-friendly. All right, that being said, let's get to. Starting off strong, we have a hidden Mickey right here in the credit scenes. We have hidden Mickeys on the Dalmatians, and we are in 101 Dalmatians. Now, even in this credit scene, we have London. This very beginning is also seen in Peter Pan, Pocahontas too. Like, they reuse things quite often. So, just throwing that out there. Now, in the very beginning, we have Pongo narrating, and he is explaining that he and Roger live in London by Regent's Park. Now, this is going to come into play for a few different reasons, but just hear me out. Important to the story, they are in England, right? Near a park. So I originally put this in because we actually learn about Roger's last name, and I forgot about this. His last name is Radcliffe. Now, when I took this, I immediately thought of Roger Ratcliffe. Now, rat versus rad, right? So ends with R-A-T Cliff and then R-A-D Cliff. I was thinking they were the same, but they are not, so that is my mistake. I do want to clarify that while I make my video. However, the fact that they are very, very similar and both English. Now, names do change over time, not just in the same country, but also when you are immigrating, right? A lot of names change when people immigrated to America, for example, and like through marriage, blah, blah, like there's so much. I am not saying they are the same or even related. I'm just saying, could there theoretically be a possibility? Sure. We are also talking about movies, so that is putting very real world things on these characters. I think I was just not thinking things through. They're not related, okay? Haven't found any other evidence other than their names being one letter off. All right, I'm just throwing that out there. So we see Pongo, and in the corner we actually see those magazines I was talking about. It kind of hints to the 1960s. I also want to mention that we actually see a clip in like this has Easter eggs. There is actually, and we see more of it when we get a closer look. We have Roger's hat. Okay, cool. We also have in the very right corner, again, we'll get a closer look. He has a degree in music. I don't remember ever seeing a degree like this in any other animation. Also, Pongo's really smart. enough to change the hands on the clock and can read the time, knowing that it's not close to walk time. So we also have animals that are incredibly intelligent, and also they talk about how the human is the pet, right? Instead of vice versa, it's like human and pet. Interesting, just saying. We can also notice that while he's looking at dogs, their owners look almost exactly like them. Now, I don't think my dog looks anything like me. I love my Smiley boy. You can see him in some clips, but this is, I think, too much. Also, notice how we might have Madeline or a girl that looks oddly like Madeline. Now, granted, Madeline's supposed to be set in Paris, but I mean, that look was kind of popular during that time, so maybe it was just a nod to Madeline. I'm, again, just saying, looks oddly familiar. We have a little foreshadowing. They mentioned 100 years, 101 Dalmatians, pretty close. Also, this is where I said you can see Roger has a degree in music. Name me one other movie, animated, especially from this time, especially by Disney, where they show that a person has a degree. And I'm talking, right, like when this came out. I can name maybe 2 other movies off the top of my head of Disney since then, right? That you see a degree from the person. I'm talking animated, right? Kind of interesting. Just saying. Now, I was thinking about this scene, right? So Roger's wearing the hat, and just prior, Pongo had taken the hat and put it on the bench. And then had wrapped Anita and Roger together. And Roger was not wearing the hat. Then suddenly he's wearing the hat when they're falling. What is happening? Where, like, how? Make it make sense. We don't see him grabbing the hat. Is this a mistake from the animators? I want to know. Did anyone else catch this? This is the first time I'm catching this, by the way. I grew up watching this movie. Never caught that before. Now, this is why I love to rewatch things, reread things. Like, you always catch new things, but, like, I've caught big mistakes like that before in other movies, especially live action movies, but not so much in animated. Interesting. So eventually, we don't know the timeline. Anita and Roger get married. We actually have hidden Mickeys in the stained glass. And then at the same time, Pongo and Perdita get married. They end up moving. It kind of looks like it's the same street that Roger was originally living on, or at least it's still near the park. And now they have the nanny, the cook. Now, Roger's office is now upstairs, but if you look just to the left of him in that portrait, I think it was meant to resemble a dog similar to Pongo, but it does not look like a Dalmatian. That actually looks like Tramp from Lady and the Tramp a little bit. Now, we will see Tramp later in the film as an Easter egg, just saying, but kind of interesting because all the pictures to the right actually look like Dalmatians. So Pongo just finds out that he has 15 puppies. Clearly, this dad is happy, right? Happy father. But the eyes is a nod to the Jungle Book with the snake, as well as Robin Hood. They do the swirly eyes, like, oh my gosh, I'm hypnotized, right? Also, 15 puppies, and also Perdita giving birth in October. I'm questioning, especially now that I know even more about dog breeding and dog breeds. Having 15 puppies, let's look it up. Because I know my boy was one of 7. So according to my little quick Google search, okay, so Dalmatians are like a medium to large size dog. Typically 7 to 9 is average for around their breed. Hold on, let me specific. We are going to do some work, okay? Now, granted, Google did not exist. Okay, yes, 15 puppies is considered a very large litter for even Dalmatians. The average litter for this breed is 6 to 9. Because I know, like I said, so my dog, if you've seen him around, I have a Weimaraner slash Rottweiler. He is a mutt. Okay, we did go to the animal shelter. And he was one of 7. Now, that being said, the largest litter ever recorded was 24 puppies born to a Neapolitan Mastiff in 2004, so much later. Let's also mention that typically, okay, hold on. Typically, dogs give birth average of 63 days after impregnation, so it can range from 58 to 68. Perdita gave birth in October, and dogs typically give birth, usually the cycle is late spring, early summer. So even with her giving birth so late in the year is unusual, right? So we got a few things going for us, right? And it's kind of worrying me with this movie. And again, I know that this was released, hold on, was released way back when. Puppy season for unspayed dogs is usually delivering their litters May, June, and July. Okay, but she gave birth in October, which, if they were really trying to breed, and I'm not saying they were, it's truly unusual. Granted, they can give birth any time of year, just like humans. Okay, excuse me. Okay. Maybe I'm making something of it that it's not, but even wild ancestors, wild animals typically give birth when the weather is warmer. This also goes for farm animals, so keep that in mind. I'm just getting weird vibes from this movie as a dog owner. Okay, and again, I've had dogs before, but as an adult dog owner now, right? I'm just, and knowing more and more than I do, right, as I get older, there are many red flags for this movie. I'm just saying. Okay. Now, granted, I got my dog from an animal shelter. Are there breeds out there that are mixed, right? We're not talking about mixed dogs, by the way. Yes, we don't know the pedigree of Pongo or Perdita. But just throwing out some things, it just feels like they are poorly bred dogs. Okay? Also, not very well trained. You'll see that later on. But again, we love the characters. Okay, so they have this show called the Thunderbolt, which is about a dog who takes down cowboy bad guys. Seems kind of familiar with Toy Story in the future. We also know it's based off a TV show, just saying. Anyway, we do also see that a lot of the puppies also have hidden Mickeys on them, if you pause, so want to keep that in mind. And yes, TVs did actually look like this. And yes, they were originally in black and white. Okay. Now, I know from my dad, Okay, my dad was born in 1947, 1946. And he told me the first time that he even had a TV that had color with on it was not till the 60s, right? Somewhere around there. Late 50s, early 60s. And he said specifically, because he was an Air Force brat, it was when they were stationed in Michigan, right outside of Detroit. Now, my dad lived all over, but that was when they got color TVs. So consider that it wasn't as popular or affordable to everyone to get a color TV. So it's not surprising to me that Roger, as well as we will see Horace and Jasper, watching black and white TV. I was wrong. I will say later in my video, and this is just because I'm editing, that Jasper, there was no like Easter eggs between Jasper and Horace kidnapping the puppies and then that moment. So I was wrong. Let me start over. Jasper and Horace are about to kidnap the puppies, which we know, and you can see that the Daily Mail, which is only one of the very popular and still popular newspapers, is seen, and here we have several copies. And then we also have this devil-like, and yes, I'm specifying, devil-like old telephone, which had to have been custom made for her because that's not what they look like. And we also see a regular one several times with Anita. Anyway, the Twilight Bark is happening, and here we see Trusty. We have that original, one of the dogs that we originally saw in the beginning, and then we have this pet shop. You might recognize Peg and Francis, two dogs from other movies. If you can name them, put it down in the comments. We also have Lady right here in the front, and Tramp on top of the truck, and then we have Trouser, who looks oddly familiar from the Aristocats. Again, I know the Aristocats was in France much later in 1914, but just hear me out, a similar dog. Okay, also on a farm, also with a duck. Again, I don't think they're the exact same. I'm just saying the idea. We also have this idea of the haunted mansion, right? The old Cruella de Vil place looks spooky. Now, the haunted mansion was actually, like, the actual movie is set in New Orleans, so let's not forget that. But maybe this inspired it. Maybe the person that came up with the haunted mansion really got onto creepy houses. I don't know. I mean, hey, if you're watching this and you know, that'd be cool. Let me know. Okay, skipping ahead because there were no Easter eggs. At this point, Jasper and Horace kidnap the 15 puppies and now have them at the old DeVille mansion. I never realized how dark Cruella really was in just her verbiage, right? We know she's dark. We know that she wants to make a coat out of these puppies. But the fact that they actually allowed and said, here are ways to kill them, including bashing them and chloroform. What the, how I never, am I the only one that just caught this, or did other people realize this way before me and I'm just new to this? Because I never caught that before. And it doesn't matter that I've watched this film 1,000+ times. Never even caught that, right? Like, I'm paying attention to the actual words. This is kind of why I like to have my CC on, right? So I can actually read the words and also catch it for the Easter eggs. Because crazy things like that come up. What the hell? What the hell? What the hecky? What the helly? Why? What? I am baffled. Anyone else baffled? Because you are telling people how to torture an animal? Now I have a love-hate relationship with Disney, but how they got away with this, and like they got away with a lot, but how they got away with this even back then and nobody has talked about it, crazy to me. We also know that Jasper and Horace were previously in jail because they know this guy, and this guy has been in jail for a long time. And they clearly don't want to get caught and go back to jail. So we also have I mean, we always knew they were villains, but like also didn't I don't know if I like put two and two together as a kid. Just saying. And here we have Lucky, who is watching actually a original Disney short film called Silly Symphony Springtime, which was made in 1929. Yeah, I know, fun fact. So you can actually watch that too. But this is Lucky, literally enjoying Disney himself. I want to put this picture of the cake. Now, I don't think I ever remember there being a cake in this film, but because I am doing Disney homeschool curricula, and I do add a lot of cooking, I thought this would be a fun thing. I will add the recipe and the cake design for you guys. I thought that would be fun, and maybe we can do a whole video here. Now, this is not my homeschooling YouTube page, although I do sometimes mention homeschooling. My actual homeschooling YouTube is Homeschooling in NYC. But I thought that would be fun to add because I do use some of my videos from this channel into my curricula for bonuses. So, if you guys are interested, let me know because I think that would be really fun. Also, unrelated, okay, and I say unrelated and not really an Easter egg, although it reminded me of one, we have these cows. Now, let me say, farming is everywhere. But these particular three remind me of the cows in Home on the Range. Okay, again, I know for a fact that Home on the Range and these ones in 101 Dalmatians are not related. They just both happen to have cows. Okay, very friendly, very warming cows. Now, I grew up, between New York City and on a dairy farm in upstate New York. I've dealt with dairy cows before. They are very friendly, they are very loving, they're very sweet, unlike beef cows, I'm just saying. And they will follow you everywhere. They are like giant puppy dogs. Okay, they really are. But I just wanted to throw that out. If you've watched Home on the Range, you'll know what I'm talking about. Like, just their attitude. Let me tell you, any animal, doesn't matter the species or the breed, can have different attitudes, right? You're not going to go into a house with a bunch of, it could be the same species, right? I have lots of animals here. You walk into my house, right? Not a single one of my cats is exactly the same. So to have extremely similar to a future movie or a future movie that will be extremely similar to this, right? Again, did they get their inspiration from this? I don't know, but it kind of makes sense, and also maybe they reuse some of the animation. Again, a lot of Disney movies do that. So we are all over England. I just want to throw that out. Here we're in Dinsford. This is when they're on the truck, trying to get back to London. And we also know that it is Christmas because we already knew they were kidnapped in December, right? The snow, it's cold out, but it's Christmas morning and all of the dogs came back. And then I just want to add, and maybe it's just my American ick, okay? Maybe it's just me because of the American history. And when people say plantation, I automatically think of plantations had slavery. So why are you using Dalmatian plantation? Especially when this is an American-made movie. Granted, it takes place in England, okay? Again, I love this movie in other ways, but some pieces of Disney just give me the icks, and this being one of them. Why? I know they kind of rhyme, okay, but plantation, I like, you couldn't have found another word, just saying. And then lastly, we end the movie with a foggy night, seeing Big Ben. Big Ben being Peter Pan. We see, I mean, it's not the only movie that we see Big Ben in, but most known for in Disney for Peter Pan. Okay, that is all. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Tell me what your favorite part of this movie is. Was there some surprising thing? Down in the comments. If you haven't already, give a like, give a follow, and I will see you in the next video. I got a ton to do, so stay tuned.